All right, and so now we're going to be taking a look at the one of the released Throne and Liberty investor calls.
Thank you. I would like to ask my questions mostly around TL. Has there been any change in the schedule to have a simultaneous release across the PC and the console? If there's any change in the upcoming plans, please share that with us. And also regarding the companies who will be publishing these titles per different geographies and jurisdictions, would you be employing different publishing companies, or which geography or region would you be targeting for this game title? And regarding the business model, compared to your other lineups, it seems like the pay-to-win element is much more milder. Would there be any different approaches for different countries? If you could provide some color there, that would also be quite helpful. Yes, regarding the release of TL, we do not have any changes to our original plan of going to PC and console simultaneously. So regarding the publishing entity, there will be an official announcement soon by the business unit, so it would not be very appropriate for me to provide that information ahead of that, so please, I ask for your understanding. But I can tell you that there has not been any change to our original plan regarding the publishing entity. Regarding the global exposure in terms of the geographies, our objective is to, yes, have an overall global footprint. Now, you've also asked about the business model. We are very proactively trying to incorporate the aspects of the global trend and the needs and the requirements that we are getting from the global base users. Unlike our previous approach, where basically there was focus on the very special characteristics of MMORPG that worked in the Korean market and in the Asian geographies. But for this game title, we are much more focused on the global universality, which we wish to incorporate in our business model.
So, I mean, obviously, this isn't exactly what I thought it was. This is like a leaked phone call from investors and publishers, but it's just like Q&A responses. So, one thing that's interesting is that the woman just said that they're going to be using different publishing companies in different parts of the world, which is weird because publishing companies usually don't operate like that. Usually the publishing company has very like they have their own demands for what the game should do, how much money it should make them. Like think about like Activision or Activision Blizzard. Like Activision Blizzard would never allow one of their games to be published by a different company. Like imagine if Overwatch was suddenly being published by Microsoft or by Bungie, right? It wouldn't make like any sense at all. Um, Maybe it's different in Korea or in Asia. I have, honest to God, no idea because I don't study this kind of stuff. But that seems very odd to me that they would be using different publishing companies around the world when there are plenty of games with a global market like Call of Duty that don't rely on other publishing companies to publish in those regions. Like maybe this game and its publishing company, whoever that is, doesn't have that kind of reach that Activision Blizzard does, which is understandable because Activision Blizzard is a massive company like Microsoft is as well. But that's a really weird approach to it. Like almost concerningly weird because just with my understanding of the video game industry, that means that they could have different monetization practices in place in different parts of the world because that's what the different publishing companies have demanded. So that's really weird. I'm hoping they elaborate some more on that because that's really unorthodox from what I understand of things. And you know, obviously they're going to be talking about pay to win stuff. That's a huge thing that Western audiences really don't like. Is like very very few people in the West are fans of pay to win games. Um, so I mean, obviously they're addressing that, and they're saying they're changing their business model from what worked in Korea and in Asia to what the whole globe wants. The problem with that is, I believe, I'm not looking at statistics or anything. This is all just off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure the Asian markets for these kinds of games are way bigger and way more valuable than Western audiences. Like if you're releasing a game in China, Japan, or Korea, Vietnam, even there's there's a much bigger market in Asian video game audiences, whatever. There's a much bigger market there than there is in the UK, Canada, the US, Mexico, Europe, whatever. It's a much bigger cultural thing in the East than it is in the West. So when they say they're appealing to a broader audience with the global market trends, I have a feeling that they're not specifically appealing to Western markets, but really they're watering down their business practices that were gave them a lot of success in the East to also make some money in the West as well. So it may not be that we're getting the best of both worlds, it may be that we're getting the worst of both worlds, in fact. So that's interesting and somewhat concerning.
Your TL, the business model, I looked at the trailer and I see that the business model is more or less very similar to Lineage. For instance, you are adopting Einhasard and other dual characters, and these aspects seem to be quite similar to Lineage. So some people say that TL is not that much different from Lineage. So can you provide some more information on the BM that will be used for TL? And when I saw the trailer and the videos, I didn't see much aspects regarding console. I'd like to understand what type of support you will be providing, especially in terms of the PC crossplay. The first question, no, the BMs are not the same between TL and Lineage. We will soon have an opportunity to hear from Mr. Moon-hyung Choi, in charge of this title from the business unit, and I'm also closely talking to him about these aspects as well. In terms of Einhasar, the dolls, and the metamorphosis element, if we are to just take what's working at Lineage, then we would just be making a repetition and same copy of that in TL, so that is not what we want to do. So once again, in the near future, I'm sure there will be an opportunity for him to actually provide that information in another occasion. Yes, regarding console, no, the console was also part of the test, and we've done an in-house development and console test as well. And console play was actually featured in the video reel that you must have seen. Basically, once again, there's been a simultaneous development across console and the PC. Right now, we're in the optimization phase.
Do you guys know what Lineage is?
Lineage is it's an MMO that NCSoft, the creator that created this game, made.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's
no,
what.
they're just saying if they're going to do the same thing they did in Lineage. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you guys know what they mean by VMs? All that comes to mind is virtual machines. I don't really think applies here.
They were talking about their business model, that section.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure what VM means. If it means virtual machine, then it's probably about something more technical than I can really on.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you guys know if they mean something else with that because I've really got nothing.
It's
Nope, not a clue. But I heard PC and console like crossplay.
I did too. That'll be interesting.
If there's PvP, it will be fucking.
Yeah, that is one issue with crossplay is that PC often just has a hardware advantage, either better frames, better graphics, or you just have more keys that you can find commands to, especially in an MMO. That's really important. Yeah, I mean, crossplay is going to be obviously crossplay is a good thing. It's no matter what system you play on, you should be able to play games with your friends. Console exclusives are dumb. This is a hot take from me, but yeah, it's also weird because as consoles like keep developing more and more in the future, they're more just becoming PCs. Like the specs and whatnot of the hardware are getting closer and closer to just having a gaming PC, and I wonder at what point they're going to just reach the same, where they're one and the same kind of machine, where there's so little difference between the two, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's not gonna
I
fucking
don't think
matter
it's
now.
happening soon enough for Throne and Liberty to be concerned with that. Um, that I don't know. So that's a topic for a different day, but it just came to mind.
TL and Ion 2. TL took a quite significant time for developing this game title. Its game genre is multiplayer, so it's RPG, so it's basically MMORPG. But if you look at the Western market trend, it seems like the bigger hits are coming from single-player mode and shooting adventure type of games for PCs and console platform. So we'd like to understand what you think is the appeal of such a multiplayer game title is against the Western market. We'll respond to the question on TL, and I will hand it over to James to talk about Jason, to talk about Aeon 2. There are two aspects regarding TL. The first is I understand where you're coming from in terms of your question, because we have such a strength in MMORPG. That's why it is quite difficult for us to actually, before its release next year, to be able to communicate all of the aspects of TL. So having said that, other than the PvP aspects, the non-PvP aspects have also been strengthened for this game title, especially since it is supported at the console, by the console platform. And secondly, it really has a very strong narrative aspect to it, narrative content that really help further enhance and elevate the immersiveness of what this game offers. And the action element and the action system is also quite different from other MMORPG game titles that currently exist. So compared to the titles that what we are familiar with, this game is going to be very different. And so we cannot just define it as an RPG game. It is not the same as the existing RPG games. And if you look at MMORPG, it is not just about the genre itself. What we are doing is we are fully leveraging the current trend and how the Steam platform is growing, and also how the gamers and users are well accepting, and there's high level of receptiveness regarding the in-game item sales. So if we are to develop a very high quality game that has the elements of PvE, the narrative, as well as a strong action system, then I believe that we will also be able to further grow this genre at the same time. So once again, these two elements will come together in hybrid, and that will define and dictate the differentiation of TL. And we will also make internal preparations to make sure that during the NSYNC event, when we showcase or when we provide information on TL, that we will be able to fully communicate all of these aspects. Second question regarding TL, you did provide some information here, but I want to focus on the gameplay of this title.
Okay, so she said a lot of stuff just then. Most of it didn't seem to matter. Because most of what she said was, we're looking at Steam, we're looking at the Western market trends. This game has a strong narrative component. It's not just a multiplayer MMORPG, even though it is. Like, that's what the game is. Yeah, that was really weird, what she just said. That was a lot of just buzzwords and bullshit that didn't really say anything. They didn't really answer the question. Following Western market trends, and that so far they have received a positive reaction to in-game items shop, like microtransactions that way. So that doesn't
Call of Duty
sound.
players.
Say again?
Fucking Call of Duty players.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. They mentioned something about a shooter game.
Yeah, they mentioned like what
Yeah, it's
performs better
Fortnite
in.
and Call of Duty. Shit where you can buy skins for stuff.
Yep. It's what's it? The one that she mentioned was single player games and shooter adventure games, which I'm not exactly sure what she means by that.
I feel like that would be mainly Fortnite, because that's kind of what I see Fortnite as. Because you can do more
Maybe
than just sit, chill in a bubble now.
maybe they're talking about battle royale things. I honestly couldn't tell you what a shooter adventure game really is. That's not a term that I've heard before. Yeah, it's so far a lot of this seems to be just sort of fluffy bullshit. answering the question without actually answering anything. And she's also mentioned multiple times that she can't actually get into any of this, either because someone else is going to be releasing a statement on it, or because like it's really hard to really convey all of the details about this game so early. But like, that's what you're here for. That's why you're doing this, is to talk about the game before it comes out. And what she just said here in this little frame is that as long as they deliver a really high quality game, then it's going to be fine. Which, of course, if you make a good game and deliver a good game that people play, like, yeah, it'll all work out. That's fine. No one's really asking if the game will be good or not, because that's really nothing. That's not a good question. A good question would be, what are you going to do to actually make money off of those Western audiences that you've talked about? And so far, she hasn't really given much of an answer, besides that the item shop that they have exposed to the audience has received a positive response, which could mean anything. It could mean literally anything about their monetization practices, but all that it really means is that they're doing something that their focus groups have agreed is a good idea. Which,
Motherfuckers with mommy and daddy's credit card. Fuck you.
right. I mean, there are a few ways that it can go. There's a few monetization models in Western games that have had massive financial success. Purchased loot crates, and some of the things in those loot crates were variants of weapons in the game that were just objectively better than the standard ones that normal players received. Technically, you could play the game normally without spending a single dime on any of these loot boxes, and you would be just fine. But you were at a massive disadvantage if you did not have those weapon variants, and there was no way to purchase them directly. So it wasn't directly pay to win, but it was pay to have a chance to win, because you would also open up a bunch of junk that didn't help you in any way. And it made Sledgehammer Games, and more importantly, Activision, a shitload of money. I don't think they ever actually went public with how much money they made, but it was a lot. I guarantee you, it was so much fucking money. And that, but like, was the start of the whole loot drop, the whole loot crate, like craziness that happened. Like Overwatch did it, a shitload of other games did it. Fucking Battlefield did it. Like Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4 have loot crates in them as well now because of that. Like, loot crates became a essential staple in games because of advanced warfare. And the other model that I mentioned was the battle pass. The idea of a battle pass, like a standard one that you just play the game consistently and you earn rewards as you progress through it, and a premium battle pass. And that was a thing, I believe, that started with Fortnite. And if it wasn't the first one that did it, it was at least the most popular one that did it. Fortnite also, of course, had premium currency, V-Bucks, that you could earn by playing the game normally. You could earn a few hundred during the battle pass, or if you bought the premium pass by spending like $20, $25, whatever it was, you would earn more throughout the battle pass. And you could spend V-Bucks on skins and emotes and shit, whatever. You guys know how the fucking Fortnite item shop works better than we do, probably. So now battle passes are in almost every game. There's a battle pass in Rainbow Six. There's a battle pass in, obviously, Fortnite, Apex Legends. A lot of games with battle passes now, because of the financial success it had for Fortnite. Because Fortnite had a cosmetic item shop and the battle pass that could, like, two modes of monetization there, depending on which one you wanted. Like, Apex Legends has literally the exact same monetization formula as Fortnite, and they make a lot of money off of that. So when they talk about monetization practices, or the item shop that is been positively received by focus groups so far, and most likely they're talking about Western audience focus groups that are giving these responses, since that's the audience that they're talking about, like, actually caring about that. Those two examples are what immediately comes to mind for a financially successful, positively received by the public monetization model to include in a game like this: is a battle pass or loot crates, or maybe some blend of the two. Because now there's a blend of the two. Like, take Apex Legends. Apex Legends has, like I just said, has loot crates, the Apex packs, has a battle pass, and it has an item shop for cosmetics and stuff. So that is I think it is very likely that those forms of monetization are on the table, if not the way that they're moving forward.
I can
So
see
is the
that.
game gonna be free or is it gonna
Yeah, we still don't know they're gonna monetize this game.
Right.
That's
There's a
my
lot of
problem
different
is like
ways.
if you have to pay for the game and then you're gonna add in all that shit on top, anybody really wants to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if it's like Fortnite,
Right.
that's free. Same with Apex, they're money maker, and that's why
Right.
they emphasize. But then again, it's only cosmetic shit, and you can be perfectly well and happy playing the game without spending a single fucking cent,
That's
and
true.
it won't affect your gameplay because it's more skill based and character based type.
That
So,
is true.
like I said, to me that makes all the difference on whether or not I'll be okay with that type of system. Well, it's gonna be in the fucking.
Right.
It's
And
guaranteed to have
the
something. Just how much is it pushed and how much money how they try to plan everything out. Like Call of Duty is like whatever how many points for the battle pass, but it's right there in the middle between the amount that they kind of force you to spend more want to. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's like
yeah.
$20 for a battle pass, but they only have 15 and 30, they really kind of fuck you in spending more money than you really need to. If that's for something in a game,
Yeah. What I am a little concerned about when she's talking about this is that this is not a Western developing company. This is an Eastern developing company from South Korea. So they were talking about trying to appeal to the entire world with this. They have a global marketing approach to the Western audiences and obviously the Eastern audiences.
Yeah.
And I mentioned a little bit before that we may be getting the worst of both worlds with the monetization practices in the West that like battle passes, loot crates, direct purchase item shops, and we may also be getting the worst from the East, which like pay to win or pay to skip part of the grind, pay for quality of life, kind of things where the game essentially becomes somewhat pay to skip parts of the game that aren't as fun, like level boosts, so to make XP grinding easier, purchasing mounts directly so you can get from point A to point B faster, really anything like that. And there's a couple ways that you can monetize an MMO without any kind of microtransactions. Like World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online both have a subscription plan where you pay a certain amount of money per month and you just play the game like that, right? Other games like RuneScape, the battle royales like Fortnite and Apex, they're not MMOs, but they still fit, are free to play and they make their money through microtransactions. Or RuneScape, actually, it's free to play, or you can pay a monthly membership fee and unlock a lot more content. So RuneScape, I guess, fits into both somehow. Um, yeah, and I don't remember who did this study or who did this like evaluation of video games, but free to play games make more money than pay to play games because
yeah,
you make more money off of the microtransactions than you would by just selling the game. You can sell a copy of a game for like $60 or whatever, and that's all that you're getting from that person. Or you can give them the game for free and then charge them for skins or emotes or dances or whatever. And if it's $5 that they spend every month on average, you've in a year you've already made the same amount of money just selling a $60 game, but you're gonna keep making money. You're making that $60 every year that the person plays. And most people don't play multiplayer games like this for just a few months. A lot of like on average, people are probably playing this for a little over a year, like around a year and a half or two. And that's a pretty conservative number. $5 a month is pretty low balling. Probably a lot higher, like 30 or 40 a month. So monetization is something I'm very concerned about with every game that comes out, especially MMOs. So
to me, I'm gonna be rewarded for playing your game. If I put in the work and I put in the hours, and let's say like I grind PvP, I love PvP. Sucky at it, but it's more fun to me. If I do that and I get like let's say like exclusive points for PvP type shit, and I use that to purchase certain gear, I want to be able to walk around like whatever like village or hour or whatever the hub is, and flex, right? I put in the work, I hit max rank in this, so many kills in this, and this is the exclusiveness of it. You can see that same shit in different colored version of it for $3.99. Because I really like that's horrible. Because then it just feels like there's no point to really do anything when you pay for everything, show that you paid for it, and then you kill a dragon. I want to wear the fucking dragon. The only way to fucking get the dragon head.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then you're like following the dude. You're like, oh my god, you look sick. How do I do it? You have to do this. You have to be here at this and the cooler the shit, the more exclusive stuff you got to do, the more because then that just drives people to play more hours trying to get the cool exclusives, hidden gems. For me as a gamer, that's what really drives me to try and achieve those.
as a gamer,
As,
that's what
as
really
a
motivates
professional
me.
YouTuber with our whopping 37 subscribers.
Monetization in games and MMOs is a huge topic. A lot of people, a lot smarter than us, and a lot more well-researched than us, have already gone over it. Maybe we'll go over it in a video about this that we do in a couple weeks here.
That has the elements of PvE, the narrative, as well as a strong action system, then I believe
Yeah,
that
this
we
is
will
when
also
she's
be
talking
able
about
to
just,
further
oh,
grow
if we
this
make a
genre
good game, it'll be
at the
fine,
same
which,
time.
no shit, yeah.
So once again, these two elements will come together in hybrid, and that will define and dictate the differentiation of TL. And we will also make internal preparations to make sure that during the NSYNC event, when we
Yeah,
showcase or when we
she's
provide
just said,
information
like,
on TL, that we will
our
be able
game
to
is
fully
going to be
communicate
different
all of
because
these
it's going to
aspects.
be good.
Second question regarding TL, you did provide some information here, but I want to focus on the gameplay of this title. If we just look at the trailers that has been released, I think that there is, not enough content that shows the actionability as well as the hitting sensations and PvE elements or PvE content. So if we look at other titles that were successful in employing the play-to-win model, they really had a very strong PvE aspect to it. So we'd like to understand, what is the core content for TL? Is it PvP, player versus player, or PvE? So responding to your question on TL, the videos that you've seen, I think, is our in-house test-related videos and trailers thereof. So this was where we've run a stress test on this game title. So that's probably why the PvP aspects were more featured compared to the PvEs. You asked whether, which is more importantly featured in this title, is it PvP or PvE? I can tell you that this title is one that has a very good balance of both of those elements.